This is Viva Fry.
I'm Dr. Peter McCullough.
This is Tom Luongo.
This is Chuck Prodnick.
This is Alex Kreiner.
Hey, this is Brad Wall.
This is JP Sears.
Hi, this is Frank Peretti.
This is Tammy Peterson.
This is Danielle Smith.
This is James Lindsay.
Hey, this is Brett Kissel, and you're listening to the Sean Newman Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully the weekend treated you well. When it comes to silver and gold, precious metals, look no further than Silver Gold Bull. And down in the show notes, you can get in contact with Graham, and you can ask him any questions you may have around buying, selling, storing, or using your retirement accounts to invest in precious metals. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned investor or new to it. He'll work with you to find the best options for you. Just head to silvergoldbull.ca or .com, depending on which side of the border you're sitting on. Bow Valley Credit Union. Buying and selling Bitcoin has never been easier. Bow Valley Credit Union has developed the first in Canada Bitcoin gateway. With just a few clicks, you can buy Bitcoin directly from your Bow Valley Credit Union account, and your Bitcoin gateway account is linked directly to your traditional BVCU bank account, and enabling seamless on-ramps and off-ramps between fiat and Bitcoin. Little tech expertise or knowledge of blockchain required. You can visit bowvalleycu.com for more information about this particular thing, Bitcoin at a bank. Figure that, yeah. Profit River. When it comes to firearms in Canada, look no further than these fine folks. You can visit them at profitriver.com. Of course, if you're a listener of the podcast, you can also reach out to Joel, SMP at profitriver.com. He can steer you in whichever way you need to go when it comes to firearms, optics, and accessories. Every time you're buying something, whether it's over the phone, in person, or online, make sure to use the coupon code SMP. It gets you put in for monthly draws, and for everything else, just go to profitriver.com. Of course, they are the major retailer of firearms, optics, and accessories, and they serve all of Canada. Carly Kloss and the team over at Windsor Plywood, builders of the podcast studio table. When it comes to character wood, look no further than Windsor Plywood. Whether we're talking mantles, decks, windows, doors, sheds, podcast studios, folks. Stop in today at Windsor Plywood, Lloydminster, and tell them Sean sent you. All right? The MASH Spiel coming up January 17th. We are closing in on that date, a little over a month away, and we're going to be in Kalmar, just west of the Edmonton International Airport. We got 10 teams still available, so if you're interested in putting a team of 4 or you're an individual, you can sign up either way. Love to have you there. It's going to be a pretty laid-back day. You can go down in the show notes for more details on that. The Cornerstone Forum returns March 28th at the Westin Calgary Airport, back in Calgary for another year. But this venue is a little different. It's a hotel and a conference center in one. And if you're flying in, 24/7 shuttle gets you right to the hotel about 3 minutes away. It's super close. And we're just continuing to pound the pavement to add guests to the lineup that's going to join the likes of Tom Luongo, Alex Kreiner, Vince Landry, Matt Ehret, Chad Prather, Karen Katowski, Sam Cooper, Tom Bodrovics, twos, and more to come. If you haven't been paying attention to Substack, we've been releasing all the episodes on there. There's been some interesting conversations starting to percolate at the bottom of each episode. So if you're wanting to join in on that, head over to Substack, become a free subscriber, or you can become a paid subscriber and support the SMP. If you're listening or watching on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, Substack, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a review. Make sure to share with a friend if you're enjoying the show, folks. Now, let's get on to that tale of the tape. These three guys are a part of the He-Man hunting group. I'm talking about Marty Up North, George Giroux, and Norm Giroux. So buckle up. Here we go. Well, welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast. This has been 2 years in the making, folks. We have Marty Up North in, and then George Giroux, Norm Giroux, and this is, I guess, welcome to another Blue Collar Roundtable. So Guardian Blue Collar Roundtable. Shout out to the Guardian boys. If you're looking for solutions on heating or plumbing, look no further than Guardian. You can visit them at guardianplumbing.ca. You gents, this has been 2 years in the making of trying to get the He-Man group together. This is a Marty idea that me and him started talking about. You guys hunt together, and I guess just thanks for making the trip out here. This is the second podcast in the new studio. So this has been a bit of a journey to get you guys here. And Marty, you were saying you're a little disorientated getting here.
It is. I mean, this is my third time in one of your studios, two in the other, well, maybe three times in studio. But this is disorienting because I didn't expect this. What you've built here is pretty cool, and I get the concept. I totally get what you're doing here. Like, people are going to fly in from wherever, and they're going to get an experience of being in studio, but there's going to be something leading up to it. And I think when it's disorienting and you catch people a little bit off guard, that's cool, right? Because then you hopefully. Yeah, no, it's disorienting. That's all I can say.
Well, just on that for a second, I was saying yesterday that I took a lot of inspiration from, I watch Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Sean Ryan, and other podcasters. And if you watch Joe Rogan's new studio, like when he has Elon in and they're shooting the Tesla and stuff, right? Yep. And you start realizing what he built there. You fly in and you can have an experience. And so one of the things, I looked around this area, and you guys going out in the country and hunting all the time, you get this easily, is like Lloyd, is it a nice town? Yeah, it's a nice town. Is people flying in to come see the sights of Lloydminster? No.
Doubt it.
It's a blue collar working man's town, right?
Yeah.
But if you go half an hour outside Lloydminster, any direction you go, the area is absolutely gorgeous. And I hope to, like you say, maybe have somebody fly in from New York someday and land here and go, what on earth is this? Yeah. And then, not to mention, hopefully, state-of-the-art studio for them to, be impressed by as well.
And you're not going to get unwelcome visitors.
Hopefully. Who knows with this government?
Yeah.
Now, George, Norm, it's your first time on. So, George, we'll start with you. If you just want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself, just so that they know who the heck they're listening to.
Oh, man. I'm just kind of an ordinary person, I guess. But, like Marty said, I've been in industry for, I don't even know how old I am anymore, probably 30 years. E&I by trade. Filled a lot of different hats, quality control, got into piping and maintenance planning, that kind of stuff. But, even from a personal perspective, family came up from that Peace River area. Eventually, we settled down in Edson. And
well, their last name is not a coincidence. I mean, they're Giroux from Girouville. I think you need to point that out. I mean, they're
Girouville?
Yeah.
There's a Girouville.
There's a Girouville, which is in Peace River country. Up in northern Peace River, there's a Francophone community that's been there for 100+ years. So their ancestors were from Quebec, but these guys are 4th or 5th generation Albertans, with Francophone backgrounds. Actually, I'll tell you, let him introduce himself, but I'll tell you how I met these guys.
This is how this day is going to go.
Hey, let me tell you. No, well, like Marty says, our parents were up in Falher, Donnelly, and McLennan, and they're French, and grandparents farmed up there for. Like my grandfather came from both of them, I guess. Came from Quebec and then came out there. It's a small little farming community, and uncles did the same thing. And then I'm actually, out of all the Giroux, I'm the only one that has a boy. So I'm just gonna point that out. So I got the last in line. So we'll see.
Yeah, well,
Normie, for yourself, just for the audience.
Just a born and raised Albertan. Used to call myself a proud Canadian. I wouldn't say that anymore. Proud Albertan for sure. Hoping for better. And like George said, come from up north. I'm widowed. Had a wife that unfortunately got caught up in what I'd say our healthcare system lacks. So got a couple daughters that got to get to adulthood without a mother in a system that's poor. So I have some thoughts on that. Just a low life mechanic, made my
Well, there is no
made my living.
If you can't say you're a low life mechanic, well, you can. But in this show and on this specific blue collar roundtable, I always enjoy talking to the guys that do things and do things with their hands specifically.
They're being modest right now. I mean, and I think they're a little bit shy. But George is a master electrician, and Norman is a millwright, and I know them both. I've known them both for 30 years, and that's the show that you want to talk about. I mean, that's the concept that we talked about. These are the guys that I can rely on. And when I go out with these guys and we go hunting or whatever we do, I have zero worries because these are skilled people. These are everyday Albertans with massive skills.
Yeah, like we're able to
Maneuver.
Yeah, like there's not too often we need to phone anybody to do something for us. We do it ourselves.
You mean the government isn't going to fix all your problems?
We have flown in a welder, though.
Yeah, we have had to do that.
Yeah.
But no, the government's not coming to save us. We don't want them to save us, and I'm all right with that. Like, stand on your own 2 feet.
If there's an apocalypse tomorrow, people have said that, like, they're coming to my house. I'm like, my house will be empty because I'm going to his place. And you're not going to find us.
Yeah,
I'm just going to look up Girouville on a map.
Well, you'd be a long ways off from where I'm at, but yeah.
We're out, but that's the area.
Where is Girouville?
It's in the Peace River area. So it's literally...
So it's in the middle of nowhere.
It's the opposite
Sorry,
side
Peace
of the
River.
province of this part of the world.
Yeah.
If you head up towards Grand Prairie, you hit Valley View, make a right, and keep driving, and then you'll eventually hit Peace River. But you'll drive by Donnelly Corner, which doesn't really exist anymore. There used to be a little restaurant there, and you'd make a right to go to McLennan. You make a left, go to Falher and Girouville, and before that you drive through Guy, which is tiny.
Falher and Girouville are more frank. You often hear people talking about Bonnyville being francophone or Lac La Biche, but Falher is francophone. Like when you are downtown Falher, the names on the businesses are French. The stop signs are bilingual. It is weirdly bilingual,
especially in Alberta, right?
Yeah. And then these guys come from. They didn't talk about this, but how big is your family? Like it's.
Well, yeah, mom's side there was 19 brothers and sisters, and then my dad's side was 11. So we've got uncles and aunts we've never met. We've got cousins we've never met. I'm sure we got.
I've been to family events with these guys, like weddings or whatever, and there'll be like 300 people there, and I'll go, oh yeah, you're a Giroux, you're definitely a Giroux, you're a Giroux. Well, I don't know who you are, but you are a Giroux.
And mom and dad were the youngest, right? So actually, like all those uncles and aunts, a lot of them aren't around anymore. Yeah. So it's like you're next up. Like that's the reality of it. I guess we all age, and you get to the point you're like, well, I'm next up. And I think that's the one thing that smacks you in the face just in life in general. Like when mom passed away, I looked at the kids and I'm like, my dad's gone, my mom's gone, I'm next up. And they kind of look at you. It's like, it's a circle. Eventually it's your turn. Just make your stamp.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I feel like it's a turn for a lot of us right now with the state of Canada.
Yeah.
In what sense? Like,
well, I think you look at it from a life perspective and you try to, we all talk about making a stamp. It's like, what's your impact going to be? Because you're looking at what we're leaving for our kids. It used to be that our parents left something better. I don't think we're leaving something better.
Definitely not leaving something. We're leaving them a lot of debt. We're leaving them. We're leaving them without an identity, even too. Like our country is not what it used to be, and I mean, it always struck me. Like my wife was sick and she went terminal. We went to the Cross Cancer, and then they'll start playing with you and doing all sorts of different medications and whatever, and they want to know your bit of your genetics and your history and whatever. And so you're sitting there and they push this piece of paper across, put your name on, male, female, all that stuff, and then it's like, what's your cultural background, right? And you look down the whole thing, and I'm like, where's Canadian? Like there's no such thing as a Canadian. I'm like, yeah, there is such thing as a Canadian. Like I was born here. Like a Canadian with maybe some French background, sure, I can bite on that. But no, we have an identity and we should have an identity. I was like, I told her, put down other, and then just write Canadian in there. Like we need to take a stance on that. And quite frankly, I hope it's Albertan one day. Like not too far
You think
away.
we ever get there, boys?
We will. I think
so.
so. I think so. I mean, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to think not in my lifetime, but now more than ever, I think in my lifetime we will see an independent Alberta.
Yeah, the talk of a referendum in 2026, though, like I guess in our lifetime is a lot of years, hopefully left.
Yeah.
Barring nuclear war or I don't know, an EMP or a solar flare or something that really sends us back to the Stone Ages. I guess when I ask the question, I think, like 2026, do you see a referendum question coming? Do you see a vote to get out of Canada?
Right now, me personally, I don't want it in 2026. I think we still need to do a little bit of educating. You don't do this every year until you get the answer you want. So I think I'd rather wait a little bit. I've a few things still tell me that there's a lot of Albertans that aren't on board.
Well, and to your point, I think you gotta, like the firewalling idea. I think you gotta get that first, because like you could vote tomorrow and you're 12 years away from it. Number one, they're not gonna let us go. Like you don't let the piggy bank leave the house. Like they want their bank account and we're it. But not only that, it's just like we're not. That's probably a lot of the hesitancy amongst people is like they're looking at it and they're going, well, we don't like, what are we going to do for pension? What are we going to do? You have to settle these things out and get them set up before, it's like when you're preparing, like this isn't like a teenager leaving the house for the first time where they just grab their bag and take off. Like you got a lot of people that have a lot of different concerns. So how do you manage that? Well, you got to have your police set up. We're doing that. You got to tackle your pension thing. We're doing that. What are you going to do for military? What are you going to do for currency? Like, you've talked to a lot of people along those lines, and it's just like, you got to have those plans. I think you got to enact a lot of those plans so you're not starting from scratch. Because if you just decide, that's what makes people nervous is the fear of the unknown. Like, why do we...
So you look at Quebec and you see how they pulled things back to themselves, and you go, "That's the plan."
100%. I think that was the best marketing phrase that Smith ever did. We just want to be like Quebec, because when you do that,
no, we don't want to be like them. We want some of the things that they do. Yeah.
But it's a tagline.
I don't want to be like
where
Quebec.
It's like, well, there's some fun things in Quebec.
Yeah.
But and you've been there. But the reality to it is like when you use that, it's easy to frame up. People go, oh yeah, well, why not? It's like, it's not extraordinary, right? You're not asking for extraordinary things. You're just asking to be treated the same.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of framing it in a way where the average person can get on board with that. Because if you say, oh, I want my own pension plan, they're like, nobody does that. Well, no, Quebec does.
Yeah. The good thing is people are definitely getting on board. I mean, every week, I think people are having that buyer's remorse now. They're seeing that nothing changed in Ottawa, which is a good thing for separatists, right? Like, I mean, Carney's coming out to Alberta tomorrow or today. I think he's
today.
Coming tomorrow.
I think it's today. It don't matter.
It don't matter. He's here.
Yeah, he's coming here and he's going to announce quote unquote memorandum of understanding. I saw bits and pieces of what they're going to announce, and it's just more regulations, more hurdles for us. Like it's, we're being suppressed, and we're being held back as a province.
He's Albertan. He understands.
Yeah. Anyways, he was in. It was funny to watch. Actually, we're not here to talk about Carney, but it was funny to watch Carney in Abu Dhabi last week, or in the United Emirates, wherever he was, right? And I mean, he was gushing over them, like they were showing off what they had. They were showing off all this beautiful infrastructure, and then Carney kept gushing over it. It's like, so you're gushing over Abu Dhabi's wealth that comes from oil, but you're not gushing over our oil.
Yeah, like why don't we have that?
Why can't we be like them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
because we've made mediocrity the target, rather than like the lowest of low bars.
Yeah.
Well, we used to build things. We used to, like, we had dreams, and now that doesn't happen anymore. We can't even, to put a pipeline across, like, that shouldn't take anything.
Well, look at Trans Mountain, man.
Actually, Norm lives on the Trans Mountain pipeline, went right by his property.
And you want to talk about a money laundering affair? That's money laundering at its finest. Like when you watch a hoe show up on the back of a tractor trailer and they pick up the exact same hoe and put it on another tractor trailer and move it down the road, you're sitting there going like, really?
Just gotta
like,
show it's moving.
Yeah, they move the stuff around, and they can bill for trucking. This is all cost plus. There was no bid work on this. Like, and the Eastern people think that they built us a pipeline. Oh, please, like, come on. We had the damn thing built and ready to go. Like, if you just got out of the bloody way. But oh no, like just more. That's why we don't need them. Like, get rid of them.
I talked to an industry person when they were doing that, so they had a lay down yard in Edson, and that person was like, we had just had a meeting with the government. There's 80 people from the government in this meeting
for a lay down yard.
Like they just all show up. Are we going to talk about government waste? God. Like, here's another one. Here's one. I'll tell you another.
Where do you want to take
Sean's
this?
like,
Yeah.
Well, here's another interesting one. Because you talk to people, right? Like, if you talk to people, you find out stuff. And I was talking to, I was in for an appointment. I was talking to the guy. And his wife used to run a little cafe in town. And so when AHS was building a hospital in Edson, which took forever. But so they were trying to figure out how they were going to do the decorating. So they held this big meeting, brought all the AHS people in. So her job was to cater it. But it's not just like when we have our food, it's like you get what you get and then you go serve yourself. There had to be somebody at each tray serving, and they had to explain to the people how it was prepared. Like, this is so, and he goes, you know what the funny thing is? They have this big meeting, they bring all these people in from all over, and the decision on the interior design is that they would contract that service out. And you're like, what? So they drove from all over. They couldn't even pick a color of paint, which is probably white. Actually, when Mom was there long enough, it was white.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I mean. Like, we talk about government waste, and people don't understand how deep it goes. It's like, think of the most ridiculous thing you can think of, and they've done it. They've all done it. I don't care if it's UCP or NDP. Like, they're all the same. It's a uniparty. It's just, what side of the aisle are you going to really, like, kind of hover on?
It's our embedded bureaucrats that are the problem. Like, I went to a hockey game with a buddy, brought his father. He works for AHS. And he was upset because we were higher up in the nosebleeds, and his buddies that got free tickets were down there in the lower bowl, and they were making fun of him for having subpar tickets. And I'm like, how are you here? Like, that shouldn't even happen, like, at all, like, not even a little bit. But well, that's just a small part of it.
I don't think they should be treated a whole bunch different than the private sector, but in the same breath, it's like I don't think you're getting the same. I don't want to paint them all with the same brush, but like, you're not getting the same level of competency and accountability in a lot of instances. Like, and like, let's be honest, you get in a big organization, and they beat the care out of you.
Well, that's my problem, right? I mean, yeah, we need a bit of government. I think we can all agree we need a little bit of government, but government became something of its own beast. And it was okay when government was sort of just incompetent. We dealt with it, right? We work in the oil patch, and a lot of the rules we had to deal with. You go like, okay, I'll deal with it. But now it's beyond incompetence. They're actually hindering, and they're even going further. They're trying to take us out of business. Like, they're doing things to purposely take us out of business.
Well, they want us.
So that's our frustration. I mean, we all grew up in a province that had this amazing Alberta advantage. I mean, we're all fathers. We all had kids. We all had homes. Everything was great. Norm was touching on this. I mean, my father, your father, they weren't the best men in the planet, but they did something that they were supposed to do. They made sure that the next generation was better off. I'm better off than my dad, and you're better off than your dad.
That wouldn't take much.
But
anyway.
I don't think my kids will be better off than me. That's your phone, Norm?
Yeah, it's my phone. You want me to go shut it off?
No, let it keep ringing. And get a better ringtone. Jeez. But you want to know what? Like,
Put them all on vibrate.
Yeah. I got rid of mine.
I ordered some pesos, so I guess they're in.
Yeah, Norm's prepping.
Are you talking about Canadian dollars or?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, they're worth it.
Canadian pesos for some Mexican pesos. Because it's cheaper to fly halfway around the world than it is to vacation here.
You know, you talk about that though. Like we talk about leave the next generation. Like I don't think it's hopeless because I see. Well, actually, I heard an interesting stat, and it was an American stat, but they said like what is it, Gen Zs are the newest ones, whatever they're like. My son's age, my daughter's age, they go to church more than any other demographic.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild that way. And then the next millennials and then next Xers and boomers go the least. And we wonder how things drift, right? Because I've heard you talk about faith a lot of times. And it's true. Like it's amazing how you drift back. So it's kind of wild.
You have to forgive me because I'm a one-man band on this side. So every time somebody sits up and moves, I'm like, well, I better go check a camera. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and stew on it for the next hour.
Well, we're the second group in the studio?
Yeah, I'm still ironing out a lot of
that's
problems.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Sorry, finishers, I drift back. What were you saying?
So I was listening to a program and they brought out the stats on the demographics that age demographics that go to church. And they said like Gen Zs, and this was right after what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And they said like Gen Zs go attend church more than any other age group at this moment, followed by millennials, followed by Xers, and baby boomers, not surprisingly to me, go the least amount. And I think they're the people that have drifted the furthest away from faith. And you can see it in the way they behave. And not all of them, because there's a lot of good ones. Like, some people are very principled, but a lot of them are willing to sacrifice the young for themselves. And it's absolutely bizarre because it's completely contrary to, I would say, how
to biology and genetics,
Yeah.
right? You're supposed to
you protect the young.
And the young are supposed to replace you, and it's supposed to be better for the young. That's how biology is geared, right? The survival of the fittest, and we're supposed to reproduce, and they're
the ones pushing, I think, in a lot of cases. Not just.
I mean, I don't want to go down this one too hard. I'm critical of boomers too. That's a group I like to pick on.
Well, there's a lot of good boomers in
100%.
Alberta, and
100%.
probably specifically rural Alberta. And I'm singling out rural because I just come from it and I know what I grew up around.
100%.
Right? Like, there's a lot of good people in all the different all the different age categories. It is interesting, the younger people turning back to faith. I think it's hard. I obviously I'm not one of them, but I mean, in my own journey, you stare at the world and none of it makes sense. You're like, what are we doing? It doesn't make any sense. And so then you got to go find something that makes sense. And I think for the reason I go back to it a lot is it makes a ton of sense to me. It just does. And that, once you have that, then you can stare back at the world and go, oh, this is kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
And in society right now, when you got, 16 recalls going now for UCP, MLAs, petitions. You got teachers upset for being ordered back to work. Meanwhile, the ATA didn't pay them. And you're like, where did the money go? Like, I mean, where's the teachers' outcry about their own governing body that didn't pay it? I mean, at some point you got to go like, aren't you going to address that? No, you're not going to address that. You're going to go and try and get everybody who's ordering you back to school. And they're throwing this propaganda in that there's a book ban and it's so bad and we're going to get rid of all the classics. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, do you even understand what's going on? Like, how can you be so far removed from reality?
Because they never left school.
Which is actually, that's an interesting observation. I've noticed more, actually, now this is weird, but I've noticed more and more people starting to question. They're actually getting pushed so far that they're starting to finally question. Like that's a great one, right? Like I think that's a perfect example. Recently, teachers, a lot of teachers started to question because they even said like, wait a minute, we got a 12% raise. We're going to work. And not just teachers. Other people started saying, what you got is good. And they started questioning things in general. Like, what are you complaining about?
Well,
What
that strike was to inflict the maximum amount of political damage.
That's all it was.
Like teachers I talked to, I said, you're not getting more than 12%. You want to know why I know that? Because that's what everybody else got. And the government's not going to go out on a limb and give you 16. Whatever, right? And then they talked about hard caps. I'm like, well, I actually think the problem with school, like with classroom complexity, is that all the desks should actually be pink. You just pick the variable. Class size is the variable. Is that the only variable? No, there's lots. But if you pick one, you're stuck to it. You can only address class size because you don't have money to address anything else. But if you deal with, and I think they're going down the right path, if you pick the problem and then you start finding solutions. But if you start building the problem to fit the solution that you want, you haven't done anything. Like, you've made it probably worse.
But that was one of the things that I liked about the strike, right? It brought up some people finally questioned the problem, right? Like the teachers, they had a legitimate beef, right? The classrooms are messed up. We're letting in kids who can't speak English into the classroom, and the teachers are having to deal with it. I'm glad that some of those problems,
I agree,
got brought to the forefront, and people finally said, hey, maybe government is causing problems. Like, maybe the policies, we've gone too far. We're seeing that a lot.
Well, and one of the ones I heard a lot about from teachers is, I don't know about your guys' day, but I know my day in school, discipline was still a thing. Now, they were removing, by the time I was in school, the ruler and the strap and things were that long gone. But the old, I can just imagine, I deserved it. But I got spanked in grade 1. I remember that quite, I
got punched in the face in grade 9.
But I think, what has changed in schools since even my time is discipline they've been handcuffed, and complexity also. Part of it is like, how do you deal with an unruly kid who's ruining the entire classroom? And if you talk to enough parents, it's in every community where they're not allowed to remove a kid, they're not allowed to touch a kid, they're not allowed to, and all the things. And you're like, so what do you do?
No, they've gone overboard on.
They've gone overboard on like, we're going to make a safe space. Well, what about all the other kids?
A safe space or accommodating people that really,
don't deserve it.
I'm going to say it. I mean, my youngest graduated about 3 years ago from high school, and there were people that got their diploma that shouldn't have received their diploma, and they were accommodating them. And in the past, we would have said, no, that kid shouldn't be in the class. That kid. If the parents wanted that kid to have a certificate, we could have saved a lot of time and just said, here's a certificate, done. Yeah. But they made that kid sit in the classroom for 12 years, and it cost a fortune, and
realistically left without the skills they need.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like for schooling there, like I lived that part too. Is we need to stream these kids differently. Like, we need to give them options. Like, not every kid's the same way, and we need to have a couple of avenues for kids to thrive. We've got enough of them.
That was something that Danielle Smith talked about a couple of years ago. Remember, and even that solution, like what she said, realistically, you can pick a kid at some point in grade 10. You can say, kid, you're not going to university.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's totally
you have a knack for being a carpenter or a cabinet maker, and let's put you on that stream. And then there's parents and people go, oh, you're denying that kid an opportunity or whatever. It's like, holy smokes!
No,
you can't even bring up solutions anymore.
Well, like they keep. I mean, you hear it quite often now. They're saying like the plumbers are going to be the next millionaires. Like, you can't try and get a plumber. Like, good luck. Like, you got to know a plumber so that he'll come. Otherwise.
Well, that's why I like talking to guys who work with their hands so much.
Yeah. Well, like the CEO of Ford, he's like 6,000 bays in the U.S. are missing
mechanics.
A mechanic. That's just Ford. That's not everybody else. So you got to like at some point we got to teach.
I remember when I had Robert Oswald. He's a guy from this area. Builds boats. Actually, now can you imagine a guy who builds like wake boats coming from this area where there's like this isn't the Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. Yeah. We do have good lakes here in Saskatchewan, Alberta, but regardless, he told me way back when that you have to make blue collar cool again because kids need to there's such great opportunities to go and build careers there and a lifestyle there, and it's needed, right? Like you hear all this stuff about AI. I'm curious you guys' thoughts on AI, of it taking over the world and replacing all these jobs. And I always stare at a mechanic, for instance. I'm like, good luck with replacing that with AI. You're not gonna you're a carpenter, somebody who builds. Look around this place. It was a carpenter who put in all this. I'm like, AI ain't fixing that. It might design it. It certainly ain't coming in and putting in the screws and cutting the boards and, all the other things that go along with it.
Well, computers are getting rid of paper, remember? I got more paper on me than I ever did. They were going to make your life easier. It augments it. It changes it. I think the reality is especially and you're better with the data side of it, but in a data-centered world, you're just collecting more information. So it's going to help you sort it, parse it out. But at the end of the day, somebody has to make a decision.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's keep talking about that. They made it. I don't know who decided that being blue collar was bad. Somebody along the way made it shameful to be a blue collar, and we're going to regret that. It's just another decision. It's just one of those things. In the last 30 years, man, our society did a lot of things that we will ultimately regret.
Well, you look into schools now.
We said,
the computer room is more equipped and more funded and used than the shop class. A lot of these schools don't even have shop classes anymore. Part of that is you can't get, if you've got a mechanic and he's going to be a teacher, he's got to jump through a pile of hoops in order to do it. And he's not given the resources he needs. I remember our shop class, we bring a truck in, we were welding, we were grinding, putting engines, we were rebuilding. We were all sorts of, those kids don't do that anymore. Not at all. And we don't give it to them. We give them a smart board and a iPad, and you're like, why? Everybody's got that. And they don't have,
and like you said, there's nobody to teach it.
If you're a mechanic and you can make $200,000 a year, why would you go make 80 as a teacher?
The only reason why you do it is for lifestyle.
I'll teach the kid that wants to come and work.
But they would do it for lifestyle, right? So you flip that. Okay, it's I want to go do this as a lifestyle choice. I'm tired of being cold. Okay, the money's less. I'm kind of half-assed retired. Run that thought. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay. And it's oh, by the way, you need an ed degree. It's I'm out. Nate's able to employ tradespeople to teach tradespeople, and they do a really good job of it, I'd say, for the most part. I had good ones. Some of them I was teaching when I went through, but but the reality of it is it's doable. But we have this idea, you could have a PhD in physics, but you don't have an ed degree, so you can't teach in a public school. That's crazy.
Well, apparently they've made some sort of concessions for the shop teacher stuff. My girlfriend's a teacher, and so I get a little bit different viewpoint, which is good. I needed that during this last little run through the ringer, but yeah.
Speaking of money, it's staring right at me. So I wanted to do this, okay?
What are you giving us here?
So every guy who comes in the studio gets a 1 ounce silver coin from Silver Gold.
I'm short, that's why.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Silver Gold Bull, one of the things we started, I think it's going on a couple of years now. Anybody who comes in studio gets a 1 ounce silver coin. And I don't know if you boys stare at silver and gold prices at all, or if you collect it all. But, watching the gold price do what it's doing, the silver price do what it's doing. When we first started that, I remember giving one to Danielle Smith, and I remember not knowing if I could give it to her, and she laughed. She's like, is it over $500? I'm like, oh no, it's $38 at the time. She's like, oh, I can have it. So I gave her a silver coin. And since then, don't have the spot price in front of me, but I want to say it's $72. So that
probably, yeah.
It's almost doubled since I started it.
I actually I posted something cool on X about a month ago on my way to the Independence rally, I stopped at a gas station and I paid cash, and the guy gave me coins as change. And just randomly, afterwards, I looked at it, and there was a 1957 quarter in there. And I was like, wow, okay. The 1957 quarter was still silver.
Yeah,
they stopped making silver quarters, I think, in
65 or 67. It's
something
somewhere in
like
there.
that, right?
So if you go back before pre-60, let's say 67, it's like 80 to 85% silver.
Anyways, 13 quarters makes an ounce. So I looked at the price. That quarter was worth about $8.90 in the silver content of that quarter.
You just got everybody's going, holy crap, that money jar that I've been...
Look, if you have a money jar, go look through it. If you have any pre-67 quarters or...
I went to what the heck is it called? A big craft show in Lloyd.
Farmers market?
Yeah, no, but they have this huge Christmas craft show.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like 10,000 people come through it, and they have all these vendors, and this is like 2 years ago. There was one of those old coin guys, and I said, what's the best silver coins you got? Like going back pre-67, 65, somewhere in there. And so he showed me all these coins, and I bought one for like, I can't remember, $20 or something because of its value and its rarity. Now, it was just I think it was a silver dollar, if memory serves me correct. But I think about that now, and I'm like, holy crap, that was like really, I mean, it's not, is it making me a millionaire? No, but I mean, you go look back, anything pre-65, 67, forgive me, folks, there is a date in there. Martin Armstrong talks about it a lot. And it's like, you should be looking through your change right now, because if you have that old coin jar, which I assume we all grew up with, I bet you there's a whole bunch of quarters or coins in there that are worth a heck of a lot more than what's printed on them. Because, the silver content is high.
Yep. No. Precious metals and things like that are worth investing in right now. I mean, our dollar is being devalued like rapidly every day.
Is that part of the reason why the price of gold is going up so much too, though? Like, because our dollar's worth less.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the government's budget last month, right? There's a $70 billion deficit, and every time there's a deficit, that's more money that the government has to borrow. And where does our government borrow money? From the Bank of Canada, who issues more bonds and does all sorts of crap. And people get excited because their property value's gone up by 5% this year. It's like, your property value's gone up 5%, but your dollar's devalued by 7%. So you're not gaining. We're not gaining. Speaking
of property, okay, I meant to bring this up almost close to the start, but then we've been in different realms. So I follow. I think a lot of people who listen to the show follow Marty on X, and one of the things that you had on your property, like, I don't know, was that, how many days ago was that, where you spotted the truck out
last weekend?
So about a week ago, you had the truck parked out. I don't know. Walk me through this, because I saw it on X. I'm like, man, that's strange.
Yeah, so I have, it's not my 40 acres, but there's 40 acres next to my property, right in my backyard. It's a 40 acres of grazing land. And my wife was just sitting in the living room or in the dining room, and then she just looked out and she's like, there's a truck in the middle of the field. I'm like, and I looked and I'm like, yeah, there's a truck in the middle of the field. What the hell is the truck doing there? There shouldn't be a truck there. And there's kind of a dip in the field, and he was in the lowest spot. It looked suspicious. I grabbed my binoculars. I couldn't see what was happening, so I literally went and grabbed my tripod and put a spotting scope on it, and I looked at the truck. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I did, in order to do that, I had to raise the curtain. I went upstairs into the second story of the house, opened the curtain, put the scope there, and then immediately that guy started moving around and packing up. So he packed up a tripod and he had a camera or something. And so then I'm like, okay, I got to go into I told Karen, I'm like, I'm going into the field. Like, I got it. So I jumped in my truck and I drove, and I have to drive it a little bit around. I wasn't going to drive through the fence, right? And as soon as I drove into the field, he took off and he went back to the road, and then he went down the secondary road, and then he got onto the highway. And I said on my tweet that I chased him down doing 160. People misinterpreted, thought he was doing 160 through the field. No, he didn't do 160 through the field, but once he got on the road, he started speeding away. And so I got his license plate. I caught up with him. I got his license plate and I put it out on there. And the reason I'm putting these stories out there, people say, Marty, you're getting paranoid. Like, well, I'm starting to get paranoid. Yeah, because I've had too many of these incidents and I'm putting it out there to let people know, whoever that is. If it was somebody spying on me, then I want them to know that I was onto them. Now, I got an answer afterwards. One of my neighbors said, I think that, one of my neighbors said there's a property for sale nearby, and could it have been the real estate agent flying a drone to get some footage? So I called a real estate agent. I went and looked around and I found a sign, and I called the real estate agent, and she said, yeah, we were out there doing something. I'm like, can you describe the truck? She didn't give me a satisfactory answer. It's a potential, it could make sense, but still I'm like,
yeah, but I don't know about.
Why would you go to a field?
Yeah.
Like, why would you trespass?
I don't know. I don't know about George and Norm, but I just sit here and I go, okay, you picked the low spot.
Yep.
Maybe that's coincidence, but I think us sitting in here, I go, as soon as you're in the low spot, I mean, I know. Anyways,
yep.
Then you go, okay, as soon as you lift the curtain, could it be timing that he starts packing up, or did he notice that you were starting to notice him? Well, okay, let's give it coincidence again. Okay, there's two.
Yep.
And I'm not a big coincidence believer. So then you go, the third thing is, as soon as you come out there, if it's all above board,
you stay there.
You stay there and you go, oh, I'm just filming for this, and you explain it, and there's no harm, no foul. Done. It's like, oh, okay, not a big deal. Instead, they drive away. And then probably the fourth thing is to get on the highway, instead of just doing normal speed, they truck it.
Yep.
I mean, to me, am I missing anything here, gents?
Well, if you're flying drones, you got to be certified, and you'd have to produce that you are certified. And if you're there doing it for real estate, like
yeah, and yeah,
there's nothing wrong with
and
doing
I'm
that.
still and I'm still trying to give the benefit of the doubt, saying, okay, the guy was flying a drone and he didn't want to be.
Was there a drone? Did you see a drone?
I didn't see a drone. I didn't see. All I saw was a tripod with what looked like a camera. And as soon as I started going out, as soon as I put the scope on him, he packed up everything and rushed and threw stuff in the back of the truck and then drove away. And I actually got the license plate. I put the license plate on X, and I have friends who looked it up, and then they contacted me. They're like, "Are you sure you got the right license plate? Because that license plate doesn't register."
Okay, so is that 5 things now?
Well, then there's the 6th thing, which was a week earlier. I had the trout or the salmon incident on my property, which again was completely bizarre and unexplained. Right, I'm sitting in my office, and my daughter was there that afternoon. She's in the house, and she looks out my window, and she's like, what's Tika licking? My dog, right? So I'm like, I have no idea. So I walk out there, and there's my dog licking a salmon. It looked like a store-bought salmon with the head cut off and gutted. And I'm like, what the heck? Complete mystery. And we're like, my wife Karen's like, well, maybe it was one of the neighbors was getting ready to cook it. I'm like, so they left it where? On the deck, and Tika just happened to go visit. My neighbors are like, 500 yards away. So and I dismissed that incident as nothing. And same thing, I'm still on X. The reason I put some of these things on X is to make sure people understand that I'm not a robot, I'm not an agent, I'm just a Joe schmuck, right? And I'm real. So I put it on X, and then a whole bunch of people's like, that's an old mafia thing, man. They used to dump a fish on your steps, and it was a warning saying you'll be swimming with the fish, meaning you'll have concrete booties. I'm like, no, there's no way. But
then you have the truck show up, and and you just start looking at it, and you're like,
well, you've been following Lauren Southern.
Yep.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
I'm not Lauren Southern, but I have 150,000 followers.
But I mean, on the flip side, you say I'm not Lauren Southern, but I mean, what is Lauren Southern? Who is Lauren Southern? Sorry, Lauren, if you ever listen to this. She's a personality online who talks critically about
government and immigration policies, and
so who's Marty Up North?
He's
a guy online. I know you're a real person because we've become friends over the course of several years. But I mean, realistically, you have an online presence that is relatively large. Is it Elon Musk? No. But is it Bob from the supermarket? No. Right? You got hundreds of thousands of people staring at your content. You're critical of the government. I don't know.
Well, at a minimum, he's regionally significant.
Yes, he is. In Alberta, 100%.
Yeah.
With the UCP AGM coming, how many people there are going to know Marty? A lot. Right? It's not going to be like you walk in and nobody knows who you are. No, you're.
Oh no, I mean, it's I went to several of Danielle's Alberta Next panels or whatever.
Yep.
And I went with my wife at one of them, and I'm like, check this out. So I got up to go ask a question, and I told Karen, just watch this. And as soon as I got up to go ask a question, I got semi-surrounded by a bunch of people, and they were Danielle's bodyguards, and they came close. They didn't do that for anybody else. And then one of them said, "You're going to be nice, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just asking a question." I'm like, just making sure. I'm like, okay. And I asked a question, and I got an applause because I asked a question that was on people's mind, but that most people were not
afraid to ask.
Afraid to ask.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
That's an odd story in itself. To have people get because that means if I'm hearing you correctly, that means they had a discussion about it before the meeting and said Marty's here, and there's probably a couple others. I assume there's a few others, and if he gets up, we need you to get up and do what?
Just go near him.
Just go near him, and maybe just let him know you're going to be think about that. That's That's interesting.
Well, it happened last year. Remember last year you had the hospitality suite in Red Deer.
Yes.
And she walked in, right?
Yes.
And when she walked in and she saw me, she walked up to me, and then same thing. Her bodyguards got really, really close, and then she's like, "It's okay." And then she we had a quick chat, and
but that story makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because when she walked in the hospitality room, she's looking around. And there's a bunch of people that if I'm a bodyguard, I'm walking into a room,
yep,
and I got to make my presence known. That actually makes complete sense to me. At a town hall, if you're they didn't jump up for anyone else but me, that's odd to me. And especially when they say the comments to you, you're going to be nice, right? They already know who you are, all the things.
Mm-hmm. Actually, she was nice after that town hall. I actually got invited into the back room, and we had a chat, and she literally said, "Give me a heads up next time you're going to drop a bomb on me," kind of thing. And I said, no. That's not how it works. Did
you get her personal number at least? So how would you like me to drop the bomb on you? How
Yeah,
would you
yeah,
like
yeah.
me to give a heads up? I mean, you're the premier of a province. I don't actually have you on speed dial.
I do. I used to, but not anymore.
Well, you know what? And one thing.
But I used to too. But back when she was Danielle Smith, the radio host,
Yeah.
I think it was she was very accessible. Now as a premier of a province, and
You can't be.
And I got a ton of time for Danielle Smith and how outspoken she is towards Ottawa and what she's doing, right? But how many degrees of separation is there between her and I'm not suggesting at her town hall she was the one directing that. I highly doubt that. I assume she doesn't even have time to think about those things. But somebody in the staff certainly does.
Oh yeah, no, and I'll close it with this. I mean, I've had leading up to last year's AGM, I was pretty critical of Danielle. This year, I've backed off. I mean, I really like what she's doing for the province, and she's the right premier, and she's doing a solid job. But I did get a lot of criticism from people because I was criticizing her, and I'm like, I'm not going to stop criticizing a politician because of the color of their flag in their shirt. I mean, I don't care. My job is to hold politicians accountable.
Yeah, well, I've taken some similar flack.
Yeah.
And I chuckle about it because it's interesting to me. As soon as a government gets in, Donald Trump, it's like all of a sudden people, Team Red, they can't look at what's going on and be like, wait a second, that's kind of odd though. Aren't we going to talk about that? Well, no, Trump's in and he's going to save the world and on and on and on. And especially when you bring it closer and closer to home, that becomes more apparent. And Danielle Smith's doing lots of great things. Does that mean she never does something that's, outside the lines or something that maybe we should talk about to pull her back towards where society wants to go? It's interesting, but Team Blue doesn't want you to do that. Team Blue wants everything to be raw. Conservatives are the best.
Well, it's interesting because it's we criticize NDPers for groupthink, right? Like they can't have diverging thought. And then when we get in, to your point, we say you shouldn't criticize them. But that's what makes us conservatives. And I would like to think that's what sets us apart. And is that we're more than willing to question and criticize. But like, what's our biggest strength is that. But it also is at our own detriment if you want to maintain power. But I don't think it's a good thing to be in power for 20 years, as an example, right? Like, it's like you get corrupt. It just happens. Like, it's inherent, or you get complacent. Like, you look at Ralph Klein pre-2005 was incredible. After 2005, I didn't vote for him. Because it was like, he got, like, what was he doing? He was going through the motions. Like, what's your goal? Everybody has to have a purpose, right? But we talk about, like, how they change when they get into power. Well, part of it, they have to. They're wearing a different hat. But
I actually had I was at a conference a little while ago, and I actually met Stockwell Day. I had never met Stockwell Day, and it's just to the point you said. When Stockwell, he told a story. He said when he got into politics, his father told him, "You're going to learn. Don't quote me exactly, but you're going to learn what changing your mind means, and real quick." And Stockwell didn't quite know what his dad meant, but he got elected, and all of a sudden he represented the party. Stockwell himself said, like, it was crazy how instantly I went in there thinking I represent the people, and as soon as I got elected and sworn in, within days I was representing the party. I'm like, wow, that's a cool insight, and I think it's hard for any of them to resist that, right? Like, there's a lot of people that do go in.
Will there be a ton of pressure? The
pressure must be huge. I think as soon as you get elected, there's an apparatus that feels you out real quick, and are you going to be a dissident, or?
Well, it's before you even get elected,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's when you put your nomination in, they already are feeling that out.
Yeah.
have you guys ever been part of those? Like, when you start talking, like, I remember when I was sitting on the board for the CPC in my riding, and somebody challenged the incumbent, and so people actually signed up for the nomination, because in Yellowhead, like, if you can win the nomination, you win the riding. Like, it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening there, like, they had this guy from Ottawa coming out, renting an apartment in Hinton to be part of the area, and trying to tell everybody that we weren't getting proper representation. And it's like I would definitely argue that our MP at the time was a party guy. So I don't know what was kind of going on there, but as a board, like, we wielded quite a lot of stroke there. And that guy, he came out. I don't know what his intent was, but, like, eventually there was enough interviews. They struck him as a candidate, because they're like, this isn't right. Something, yeah. But, and there was other people, and then eventually that MP of ours, he was older, and he decided not to run again.
I don't think any of us would ever be able to run. I've been asked that a lot of times, right? Why don't you run? I'm like,
I'd go nuts, man.
Well, we'd go nuts, but they won't take us, because we're way too critical thinkers, and we just won't. I won't toe the line, no matter what. I won't toe the company line, the party line. He's laughing because I mean, I've quit jobs over that. I will not toe the line. Like, if you try to get me to toe the line, you've just done something that immediately makes me go, ooh, why?
Yeah, not very good at being told what to do. It's like
Yeah.
you can bring some logic and reason, and I can work with that. But yeah, if you're telling me that I have to do something, yeah, that's not going to work well for you. Like, it's just, and I'm not a carrot
and political
chaser.
parties are that way. At some point, no matter what, you're in a political party, you have to. There's always a time where they'll make you want to toe the line, and as soon as I have to toe the line, I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, they'll argue that's what the caucus meetings are for. That's when you debate it. But then you come out with a unified front, and it's just like, okay, but never obviously been part of a caucus meeting, but, like, how much are you actually heard as a backbencher? Yeah. And why should you have less stroke? You're one vote. And that's what I tell people. Like, if you ever want to, you want to run, I'm like, they're just a vote. Like, they're not the people pulling the strings. The people behind, like, Ralph, I'll go back to Klein, right? Who's in Klein's ear? Rod Love, right? If you want to be Rod Love. You don't want to be Ralph Klein. Ralph Klein's job sucks. Rod Love's job was really good.
Actually, in Klein's government, I would have wanted to be Steve West. He was the guy who was tasked with that era's equivalent of Doge, right? He was the guy tasked with...
and he's from this area.
Is he? Mm-hmm. He was a vet, right? Was that... Or he's still alive? I think he was a
He's still alive.
Yeah.
I actually don't know that.
They called him... the workers didn't like him. Neither did the cabinet members. Nobody liked him, but he did his job. Yeah. Actually, you were laughing because I was thinking of the story. I got to tell this story, right? So I should have introduced Norm this way, but a lot of times it's to do with not towing the line. I always introduce Norm to new people. I always say he cost me my job. So I lost my job because of him. But what happened is my boss was gone and delegated to me to be the boss while he was on vacation. And I like to hang out with the workers, and we had a little barbecue at the plant, and we had fun. And then my boss came back, and he was pissed off that I had done something nice. And then it got heated. The debate with my boss got heated, and then he literally said, "Hanging out with Norman's not doing anything for your career." I don't know why he brought that up, but my boss literally said, "Hanging out with Norman's not helping your career."
I don't know. I thought it did good.
I'm like, and at that point, I'm like, do you seriously think I'm hanging out with that guy to advance my career? I hang out with that guy because he likes to hunt. He rides a Polaris
And he
ATV.
fixes your stuff.
He fixes my stuff.
We drink beer.
We drink beer together, and we live in the small town. Like, come on. And then shortly after that, that was an eye opener. I quit the job because I asked my boss at the time, like, are you telling me that who I do stuff with and how I do is more important than what I do? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm out of here. And you quit shortly after that. I mean, it's like, yeah. Anyways, you cost me my job.
I did you a favor.
I'm the only stable one here.
Yeah.
You guys, when we first started this conversation, 2 years ago about possibly doing this, one of the ideas was around you guys go hunting and, and you spend a lot of time there and you solve the world's problems. And I feel like, that has been a good start to this conversation. But we got talking on the way out about caribou. Maybe you could walk me through, well, I don't know, you guys can discuss it, but you brought up caribou specifically.
Well, caribou for me, it's been a little bit of a dig, and you try and the government's done a really good job at they don't want to let the numbers out, and they make the numbers small. But
Well, let me frame it, and then you can.
Sure.
So we've been hunting 25 years in the exact same area, pretty much the exact same area. Like we have a camp that we go to year after year at the same time. And in that area, there are supposedly caribou. There are caribou in that area. And the government of Canada has a caribou protection plan, and Alberta signed on to it. So we had to. It's one of those things where if we wanted to develop our oil and gas, we had to sign on to this caribou protection plan.
And Quebec did as well.
Yeah. So in the area where we hunt, there's apparently a small herd that's been separated from the big herd, and they're trying to protect it. And over the last 25 years, we've seen how many strategies employed by the government to try and protect them. Go through some of the things we've seen.
They've increased the hunting quota in there for ungulates. Like basically, there's only 2 zones in Alberta that give you cow moose with a draw, like for rifle. Those are caribou zones, and they've opened up the bull moose draws.
So they wanted us to kill the moose. They wanted
kill
their
the moose,
theory
kill the
was
ungulates.
kill all the moose.
Then that way you get rid of the predators, wolves, bears, what have you. They've actually had the government contracts helicopters. They fly around. One year they shot 111 ungulates, and then they poison them. And then that's in order that they do it in the winter so that the wolves will get onto them, poisons the wolves, kills the wolves. Well, that doesn't keep eagles off of it, doesn't keep ravens. Like the only thing you're kind of saving is the bears. And there's a lot of bears up there.
Yeah.
Like anybody that's worried about grizzly bears, like
So it was a weird theory, but their theory was if you kill the moose, then the wolves will leave because the moose is the wolves'
Food source.
favorite food, and then they'll leave the caribou alone.
Yeah.
That backfired. Then they went and thought about
They wanted to build a breeding pen, which it sounds like they're doing in Jasper.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other discussion. But anyway,
they're going to fence them in.
yeah, they fence them in so that these caribou can breed in safety and what have you, and then they can make more. But they abandoned that, and then now they're onto this. There's too much disturbance on the landscape, which this area is like probably the most untouched part of Alberta south of Grand Prairie.
Like it's crown land. Where we're hunting is just.
There's a few cut lines and there's the odd cut block.
So now they went.
road.
So in the last couple of years, we started noticing it under the Notley government. They started. We call it rolling over the cut lines. So cut lines, for people who are listening, are like they cut trees down lines so they could do seismic and go look for oil and gas. These seismic lines date back to the 1950s. And they started rolling them over because they had a theory that the wolves were using the cut lines. I'm like, they've been there since the 1960s, man. The cut lines are no different than a river. They're generational. So the wolves know about them. The caribou know about them. All the animals have adapted. They understand that these cut lines are there. They started rolling over the cut lines.
And by rolling over the cut lines, you mean?
Make them impassable for us. They went and used backhoes to rip them up and then knock all the trees down and just try to
Make it impassable.
Impassable. And so what did we see this year that we haven't seen in years before? We saw caribou. You know where we saw the caribou? On the roads. So they wrecked all the cut lines that the caribou were using as part of their migration, and now the caribou are on the roads.
It's wild because like, we got a meeting with some of those government, like a lady from the government, and the math they use to determine, like, so they say that area is 99% disturbed. So the math they use for that is from the edge of the cut line.
Any disturbance.
And they
don't care how old it is.
Yeah, 500 meters. You can't see 10 feet into the bush, but they say 500 meters off. So the math, I would say, is set up to promote this idea that it's been completely destroyed. So when you hear a number, you say 99% of that area is disturbed. You're probably like, man, it must be like just mowed right down. No, it's not.
It's just the way they do the math. I mean, it's and then so we think it's a bad solution. We wish they'd asked. It's classic government.
You wish they'd ask the people that know the problem.
And
then they don't.
We actually think they're going to do harm now that's irreparable, and it's costing, what did they say? $55 million.
Yeah.
So
money just
pissed away.
I was on Getson on that online, and he's like, "Have you ever been on a pipeline project?" And like, this comes down to like what we talk about, right? Like, we don't always just blindly follow the party because it's blue, and like, I have no problem criticizing those guys. I have no problem criticizing my own MLA because it's like, I'm not going to blindly follow you. And you're like, $55 million for what? Who did it go to?
Yeah,
that's a different story.
And then they know we're in the area, right? They know we're there.
Well,
they carved out our camp.
They did stuff that we know they did it just to piss us off, right? They literally put signs up that say, warning, uneven terrain. After they went through with their backhoes and destroyed it, they literally put warning signs up.
Yeah, Helen Keller could see it. Like, that's how bad it is. And you're like...
I'm like, you guys are just, you're just trolling us at this point.
Yeah.
You made liability.
Yeah.
You talk to the federal government, you look at the, I just seen an article with Jasper Parks and the caribou in there. So these caribou have got the most pristine country that they can possibly have. No disturbance, no people, no ATVs, no heavy equipment, no cut blocks, no pipelines, no nothing. And the caribou who it is going into, they're building a breeding pen for them there.
Yeah.
So we have given these caribou the very best of the very best. Like, I'm surprised somebody isn't out petting them and, doing other things to help them along, like caribou Viagra or something. And
They're probably working on that.
Yeah, they probably are. There's a study, and somebody's laundering some money for it. But so they're failing miserably, and we're going to use their model for ours. And like our herds are staying the same, according to that gal, even growing somewhat. And that's with cut blocks, forest fires, pipelines, roads, drilling. You name it.
Yeah, it's not scientific because we dug into it. We know that up here in this neck of the woods by Primrose or whatever, when CNRL started doing their SAG-D, that was one of the things they were asked to do. You need to put cameras and monitor the wildlife. And CNRL's experience is that once they started putting cut lines for the pipes, that the caribou population exploded. So,
Well, it's interesting because what they talk about the linear disturbances, because they did offer to work with us. We'll see if they actually do.
Yeah.
But and I appreciate that. They're worried about these linear disturbances because then the wolves can see them. And I'm like, well, wolves and bears have noses. And it's like inherent. Timber wolf. It's like they can motor through the trees. These caribou, maybe they can too. I don't know. But I doubt it.
They actually did us a favor in a sense, though, right? I mean, they pushed all the moose into our area.
Yeah.
Like the moose are now trapped in right where we are, and
So it's good hunting.
good hunting this year.
Yeah, and the cut lines that are left, they're like highways now.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, all right, whatever.
You know, we've talked a lot of government incompetence here. I'm sure we can rag on it for a bit. I'm always I'm the eternal optimist, I guess. And one of the things I see with a group of buddies that go out together in the wilderness and hunt and experience the outdoors and some of those things. I mean, Marty, one of the things I assume you still do this, but like early on, you'd be like, oh, I'm taking out into the back country. I'll be back in, I don't know, 2 weeks or whatever the timeline is. How important has it been, as the world gets more and more reliant on every piece of technology, that time to get out, and go do some hunting? I don't know. I'm just curious. Your guys'
we look. Thank God Norm still organizes it for us because it is a lot of work to organize. But we all look forward to that time off.
Everybody
does.
Chomping at the bit.
How many guys did we have this year? We had 16 or 17 guys showed up. Generally, we set up 2 tents and we have room for 12 guys. We have a core group of about 6 or 7 guys. But throughout the week that we're there, we had guys come and go. We had 17 people come and go, and that's what it was. It's just
decompression.
It's decompression, and it's seeing guys that you haven't seen earlier in the year. You get to see them at that time.
Pick up the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like there's lots of cell service around that area. Like it's spotty, but where camp is, it's the one spot there's no cell service. So it's like you don't have these issues with people like sitting there scrolling on their phone. Like obviously technology's even changed on that where if we want we can text somebody out, but and some people have talked about bringing a Starlink, and we're like no, there's no Starlink.
And like it's not dangerous, it's not but it is you have to be prepared, right? So we get to go out there and you have to make sure your equipment works, and Norm goes out of it. He's laughing at that. We'll talk about that. It's a test. It's not living at home. It's comfortable. It's not totally primitive, but there is a risk component. I mean, I'll be honest. Every time I'm there, I play through the leaving, right? Like we have to get out, and the trails are muddy, and then you play it in your head, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to go up this hill, and we got to do this, and we got to be prepared for broken equipment and getting muddy and getting stuck, or every time somebody shoots a moose, then the first thing you think of is like, why the hell did we just do that?
Yeah,
because now we got to do
a lot of work. Yep.
Like I carry spare axles on the back of my ride. It's like, because you're going to probably need one. Somebody's going to need one if they're riding the same thing.
We have everything, man.
Yeah,
we have axles. We have...
we literally bring a welder.
Yeah, welders, generators.
We're laughing because historically there was a period... I was one of the worst ones at this, right?
You were the worst one.
I was the worst.
Yeah,
so I had an older ATV that was constantly breaking down. And
The tires literally rotted.
anyways, so we used to so we instituted a rule, and we have a T-shirt that you get to wear. So if you cannot, if you need to be towed and you can't get back to the truck or the camp on your own power, then you get to wear the T-shirt. And the T-shirt's crude, and you wear it, and then we embroider.
We can't talk about crude things on this show.
Yeah. And so, but Norm, he's right. That T-shirt did more for improving maintenance than anything else.
It's
Just
amazing.
a little public shaming.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
nobody wants to wear the T-shirt.
Nobody. Yeah, no, we had one.
We had a guy this year who had to wear the T-shirt, and then he was like, he's like, if I had known the rules more specifically, I would have winched myself back to the truck. I'm like, no, you wouldn't, man. You were 17 miles away. There's no way you know.
Oh man, it was great.
He made it he made it not even a kilometer off the trail.
Yeah.
And the funny part is we're loading it up, and Norm noticed that he already had a busted axle. So it was like, well, we'll just wait.
Yeah. I looked at it, well, that's going to cause him some trouble, and whatever. He got to wear the shirt. Got a good picture of him.
Yeah.
But you know what? He remembers, and he's like, that is not going to happen again.
Yeah.
So
Force people to buy brand new machines.
yeah, well, there's that too. Just spur
Yeah,
on the
I'm at the
economy a
point
bit.
now where I need a new machine.
Yeah, it's getting there.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, back to these two guys. Like last year, I had a problem with my fan on my ATV, and I mean, I'm barely getting off the quad, and he's already pulling out a multimeter, and he's lifting up the front rack and getting to the everything, and then like there's no worries. We're gonna get out.
Well, you got a group of guys who are very.
They're resourceful. But
Thank you. Resourceful is the word I was looking for.
And
right?
everybody brings something to the table.
If you got a problem, it's like minus I don't know something like catastrophic happening. And once again, I go to like who knows a solar flare just like knocking out absolutely everything. You still have the guys who can think through the problems, and you're surrounded by them. It's something that most of society doesn't have anymore.
Well, it's like one of the funnest ones that we had is I was out with Belanger and his general, and like he lost his seatbelt, the switch, and we're just sitting there and we're looking at it, and it's like, well, the switch ain't working, so it puts it into limp mode. Well, I might have had a beer tab with me, and you just cut it up and you build a jumper and jam her in there, tape her up, and it's like, and he's just looking at you like, what did we just do? And it's like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can make a lot of different things work. Like in that case, all you need was a
whose
conductor.
shifter broke, and we used the. That was that Blake's?
No,
somebody
it was
broke.
Mikey's.
Somebody
That was
broke.
Mike.
a-
No,
I was
Todd?
Retard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Retard's shifter
What the heck
broke.
do we use?
Retard?
We use like a.
Oh,
his
everybody
name's-
has a nickname out
Everybody's
there.
got a nickname. Sometimes.
Yeah, what do we use? We used.
His name's Todd, but
it
I
was
call
a
him Retard.
Broken.
and he just
What's my
drives him
broken
nuts.
sway bar?
Yeah, use a chunk of broken sway bar.
And I
make a
jammed
new-
it in there. I had a broken sway. I broke a sway bar, so it was like it was busted off. We're like, use this. It was like.
Yeah,
back
no,
on the road.
getting out is
Is
good.
part of the fun.
Is part of the fun. I mean, I think we're.
How far away from like how far in do you go?
Oh God. Well, we drive.
Off the end of the road, and closest road 7 miles.
Yeah.
So you got a quad in 7 miles.
Yeah.
And then you're just down by the river, but from the pavement, you're another.
We're 52 kilometers on dirt roads.
Yeah.
And then off the dirt road, we're 7 miles or 11 kilometers. But those 11 kilometers take a beating.
You know, I remember, we haven't done this, but I got 3 older brothers, and we did flying fishing up into northern Saskatchewan. This is a long time ago. There was about seven or eight of us went there.
Yep.
And like nothing worked. You're just, like there's just no technology, right? Like it's almost like even if you're sitting there and you're like, if the world ended tomorrow, we wouldn't know.
It's a
If
great feeling.
It's an interesting experience, and yet you wonder how many people ever get to experience anything like that. I assume this audience, there's more and more people that are like that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
and
in the general population, how many people never leave the city to actually go
experience it. Even like what our hunting is one thing, but what I do when I go hiking alone for 7 or 8 days, that's a whole new level. Like that's 7 days of not seeing another human.
Yeah, that's something I definitely have never tried that before.
It's a weird feeling. Like when you go, my record now is 7. My longest hike is 12 days, but my record of not seeing another human
Is 7 days.
Is 7 days. And I don't think there's a lot of places in the world where you can still do that. You can still do that in Alberta. We can definitely, even when we're hunting, if it was just us, we often don't see other humans.
Yeah, like unless you get near the road,
Yep.
you won't see anybody down in there.
Nope.
Which is all right. I'm good with that.
Yeah, where we go hunting, it's a really cool feeling. Like there's a hill on the way there called Scenery Hill, and I often I tell people that it is one of those weirdly familiar places that's hard to get to. It's kind of weird, but it's hard to get to. But I go there.
We go every year.
We go every year to this spot, and
There's a guy that died on the hill.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we
the year
stop and
before I
have a
started
beer
going there.
and hope that it's not too dangerous going up and down the hill.
It's just one of those spots that has become a marker every year you go back to.
And every time you're there, you just go, man, it's hard to get here. But we get here.
And it's one of those spots you pull up. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but like to me, it's like when you're coming in for the annual trip and you hit there and you're like, made it. It's just like there's no cell service after that.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Yeah, and we never know where we're going to find. That's the other cool thing, right? Like you drive up, you don't know what the road's going to be like, the dirt road, whatever, and then you get little victories. Remember last year we got off the Texaco road and there was gravel on it, right? Like somebody in the winter had gone and abandoned a well nearby, so they put gravel on a section of the road, and we're all like, whoa, we got gravel. Like we're like all happy, but then you hit the cut line and all of a sudden it's like, oof. Actually, here's the conditions. Every cut line out there, every corner, we have a name for it, right? And so we have a cut line that we call Jet Boat Alley. So going through Jet Boat Alley with ATVs is
Pull a tub trailer through that. That's like a whole new level of hell.
yeah. So when you make it through that. But it's that's part of the. I mean,
That's part of the experience.
I'm not gonna lie. Every year when I'm on my way out there, I'm like, oh God, why am I doing this? Right?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? But then we sit around the fire that first night or the river. We have a tradition. Like the first night that we show up, once we're set up camp and had a bite to eat, the river's still about 1 kilometer away for us. We didn't, you don't put your camp right on the river. That's
That would be
too
bad.
windy, too wet, whatever. So we're a little bit away, but first night we go to the river.
Am I right in thinking too? Right along the river, you might have different predators that would be near there, or are they around you as well?
Well, they're all around. Like the one
I
year.
just assume that they like in this area, the river's, I don't know, what is it, 5 miles roughly from here?
Yeah.
And the talk of cougars and stuff like that, bobcats. I just think they're typically associated with bodies of water, or like the
river's
river
so
system.
big there that
The country's just large.
Yeah,
There's everything there.
I don't think they want to.
But that's a
really be
good
around
question.
us.
That's an interesting. That's a good. I get asked about bears all the time, and people have these weird attitudes about bears, like, we leave our camp unattended for months, hours on end during when we're there. The camp is there. There's food everywhere. There's bunks. There's everything. There's never been a bear in our camp, ever. No. They wait till we're gone. Once we're gone, then they show up and they go and dig up the garbage pit or the fire pit and the latrine and whatever. We know they come, but they never come during the week while we're there.
Yeah. Like at one time I went to go put a game camera up and what have you, take the girlfriend and at the time 3 kids. And, I'm focused in on the lick where I'm going to put this camera, and we're walking along, and I had 12 gauge with me. Just, I don't know why I grabbed it. It's not normal for me. But as we're hoofing, we're almost to that lick, and the girlfriend's like, bear, grizzly bear, and just turn, and that fucker is like right there. And I just jacked that shell, and I started going right up. It sits up on its hind legs, and it's like, I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen next. And thankfully it just went down and took off, but it had gotten a white-tailed doe, and it was just finishing burying it. And like, this thing was like, it's like, there's no rigor mortis in this thing at all. Like, to understand what they can do to a critter and how much they eat, like, there was a hind leg a hunk of hide with some, like the spine to a front leg and then the head. And that's all that's left of this thing. And like, it's not stiff. Like,
what would it weigh prior to 125 pounds? Like how much did he eat of that thing?
Well, I ate like guts and everything.
50
like,
pounds of it?
Oh, more than that, man. I'd be willing to bet 75 pounds. Thankfully, it did that because it was full and wanted nothing to do with us. But this is 700 meters, like as the crow flies to camp. It's 700 meters. Like it's a 10-minute walk. Like that bear could be in camp anytime. So it's they're there. They don't, for whatever reason, they don't. I don't know if we stink so bad.
I don't. Yeah,
Probably.
But yeah,
it's a really sad comparison to what you guys are talking about. But part of the idea with this place is kind of similar to what you're talking. I mean, obviously, I'm not taking people off the out of civilization by that far and everything else. But, the first podcast I did in here, the guys were joking about looking out the window and they're like, I wonder if a hobbit's going to go rolling by. It just kind of has this, this feel to it.
You got a beautiful spot. I love it. Like, I think this is great.
Yeah. Well, I hear you talking. I'm like, man, there's just something about being out in the countryside. You can't hear a sound. I mean, minus what's in nature. And you get the campfire going and the smell and just like, there's just something special about that. And when we were doing this place, we had many a campfire out here because we're, I think there's 100 people going up on the wall. And then I forget what it is. Is it 22 businesses, roughly, something like that? And there was many a night where guys were working in here and then we'd have a fire and, share some stories and a few sarsaparillas would be handed out and everything else. And like, it's just something special about being away from it all, you get focused on, like I think of the first hour of this, you're talking about some of the stupidity that's going on with government. Government's always been dumb. Yeah. You talk to the old timers and especially the ones that paid attention, it has always been dumb. Now it's on a whole new level right now. And then you come out to somewhere like this or where you're talking about the hunting camps and it's like all of a sudden the world just kind of makes a little bit more sense,
Well, we do things at our hunting trip that most people have never done.
Oh,
and it's amazing how many people have never started a campfire. We have showers out there. We'll have we'll have a warm shower. We'll warm up water by the fire and then hoist the pail up and then have a shower. And then it reminds us, your mom.
Yep. Like our mother
had an outhouse, right? Didn't have running water.
They had a bucket in the
and we're one generation away from that. And some people have no idea that there was such a thing, that life was a little bit harder and we need that. I wish more people had a harder life.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think you realize that
it would smarten up a lot of people.
Like camaraderie, right? Like that's the one thing. Like I try to tell my kids, and I'd say even more so my boy. It's like you got to find a group of buddies that you can count on. Like life's pretty hard, and I always say people aren't sympathetic to when men are struggling. They're not. No. So I said I have a great wife, but they can't always relate with what you're going through. But if you have a good circle of friends, like your buddies, the people you can count on, the people you call at 4 a.m. and say, I need your help. And they go, where? That matters. And so I remind my boy, but I remind the kids too. It's find that circle and treat it good because you're going to need them.
Like when you talk about, going something about being around the fire and whatever, you're like, yeah, there's something about being around the fire, but there's something about being around the fire with a bunch of guys. And just everybody can let their guard down and pick on each other. And I think that me and George talk about this with our, just the youth or young men today. They don't have that. They don't have that.
But they can.
They can. But they got to leave their bedroom, and they gotta, but as the men that are in their lives and around them, it's our job to bring them out of their bedroom and
steward them.
Yeah, we gotta mentor them into being better men because I got 2 daughters and I want my daughters to find good men that hopefully I give them something to work with. But you know, like I want my girls to meet good guys, and I want them to make me grandbabies, and I want all of their lives to be just special, and those guys need to be men. And I don't know if we're making men anymore. Like some of what we see out there, I just go, ooh.
I think there's a hunger for it.
I think there is, yeah.
But even amongst the boys, I think I think you're starting to see that swing.
But we got to do, like, as men, like, I'm a father of 2 daughters, so I don't have the ability to, like, per se, to influence my son into being a good man or being a man, but I can influence my daughters on, like, I think that's something that's been missing for a long time, is we need to teach our daughters how to be good women and good women to men. Like, you want a man, you want to be a queen, like, you have to have a king. And you got to help make your king. You know, you don't just get to walk on and have a king. Like, so be a good woman, do the things that you need to do. We all have roles. I tell my daughters, you guys are unique in your own way, and you guys can make a huge impact. You want a good man, be a good woman. And then I send them, like, we talk about it often, and sometimes I think they roll their eyes at me and go like, okay, Dad, I get it. But
you want to what? Like, you say you don't have a son, but I would argue that you've influenced a couple of young men. And
no, for sure.
Like, if we all look at it, it's like, I shouldn't say, people look at it as, like, they don't realize the influence of a hockey coach, football coach, whatever, right? Like, we all have opportunities in our lives to influence people in the right way. You know, I'm fairly outspoken, like most everybody here is fairly outspoken, but there's another example, right? It's like, just don't shut up. Like, if you see something, it's okay to say it. Don't be scared. Because you want to know what? Chances are other people are thinking the same thing. We learned that 4 or 5 years ago when we started lining highways with people, and you were in it. Like, we were in Edson when how many trucks went through? There was like 100 people maybe lined that highway. Mm-hmm. How many people drove by, gave us the bird? Some people honked. Like, we were at the start of that thing. And, you know, I went because my mom was like, get your ass out. And you're like, which that was kind of the interesting part with that era. Yeah. It's like, there was a lot of those women were taking the role of the man and saying, get your ass out there and do something. And, which is awesome. But in the same breath, it's because we could go on to that side of it, like how they've destroyed masculinity, and it's intentional, but it's you have the ability to influence anybody you want. You just have to take the opportunity to have a conversation. Like, we didn't really have a dad. Like, my dad was gone at 13. I found mentors. And, like, people that they filled the role at the time. There's people I still talk to.
I find with, I got 2 boys, and I find a lot of times, you know, I'm sure that I'm leading by example, but at times you talk about your daughters rolling their eyes at you. I'm sure my son rolls his eyes at me all the time. And my son joined football this year. I knew nothing of football. I never played it. I've certainly watched the game, but, you know, like, I just didn't know anything of the culture. And the coaching staff ran it, man, like, I've never been in the military, but I've had many a military guy on here. And their practices were so well structured. The discipline that they instilled in the boys was cool to watch. As a parent, I never missed a practice this year. I just showed up to watch how the kids interact. And you talk about a hunger with men. There's a hunger in boys. They want that. Mm-hmm. And I watched it week after week, 2-hour-long practice. And when the first one hit, I was like, there's no way they're going to keep boys engaged for 2 hours.
What was
it was dark, Marty.
Yeah.
At 8, it's like 8:15 at night, and they're still running the kids' lines, and they were still going. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like, society's telling us this is wrong or this doesn't exist, and I watched it, and I'm like, this is so great for my son. It's not even funny. And they're giving him things that when I try and tell him it, he rolls his eyes at me. Yeah. And when they do it, it's another way of mentoring them, and they're teaching them things that I want, but sometimes they got deaf ears.
No, I was trying. What did Mark say about me when he was worried about the way I was talking to his boy? But then he changed then he realized what I was doing.
Yeah, he was just concerned with like how you were, like you're fairly straightforward, and you know, it could be seen as harsh, right?
Yeah.
But then once he's seen you in action, you're disciplined. You knew you were good at instructing the boys. So that's part of what we do with He-Man.
We do that. We're trying to bring them during hunting, but we bring them before the hunting season when we set up camp. And we
bring all the kids in, and then we bring out firearms,
chainsaws, whatever.
Yeah, we let them do all that stuff. Like, these are they don't get that normally, right? So,
but what I was going to say, to your point, like the discipline, some people take offense to the strict tone. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean,
well, if you're talking about firearms, if you don't have a strict tone, and let them know what is,
I have a strict tone when I'm talking to the kid, but most kids actually respond to it.
But it's like when Jarhead was, give you that swat on the back, and you got mad at him and give him a tuning. Like, George is all right with it. It's like, that's part. Like, as a young man, you got to be prepared to get tuned by any man, and that's just part of life. And don't take it to heart. It's just part of growing up and being a man. You're going to get put in your place.
Well, in that case, it's like you need to understand, like, he's really strong now. Like, you're not, and then, you start, and we've circled back, and you start to explain it, and it's like, man, you're 16. Like, you're very strong. Like, you can't just, like, when you're killing a beetle, like, he's weak. But when you're trying to hit a June bug or whatever with a hat, and you're beating the crap out of him, it's like, that's hurting. So it's like, now you're hitting a different stage of your life where it's like, now you have to be controlled. And I remember we'll use him as a bit of an example, and I'm sure you with boys and you with the girls, it does in my daughter too. It's like they all hit a point where, like, being not in control is acceptable, because by being not in control, they learn how to control themselves. Like, that's the one thing we miss out. Like, I remember having a lady talk to me, like, she was talking about, like, asking if I wrestle with my son. I'm like, you have to wrestle with your son, because they need to learn how to control their emotions, manage their emotions. If you don't do that, they become unmanageable, and they can't manage themselves. So then they get themselves into trouble, and that's where you get, and
then you also touched on this on something like, people say it takes a village to raise someone, but I don't think they understand what that means. Yeah. The village means that if his son misbehaves, I have their permission to set him straight. Yeah. And they have my permission to do the same thing with my sons. Like, that's completely missing. I mean, we still live in small towns, I guess, and we still do that. When I was a kid, if I misbehaved, my mom would have heard about it from long before I got home.
Yeah, you got two beatings, one right there and one when you got home. Like, it's just.
I have. I don't know if I should tell this story, but what the heck?
Then you should.
Talking about wrestling with your kids and your boys specifically. Shay, my oldest, I forget how old he was. He was, he was young. It was first year U7 hockey, so he would have been 5 years old, and he loved to wrestle. And so we blew up this air mattress in the basement, and I used to do wrestling moves onto it, slamming them and everything. He'd bounce up, and just a kid that really enjoyed pain, right? Like, to this day, it's the same. That's why I think he gravitated to football. Anyways, I wasn't paying attention, and we'd popped a hole in the air mattress, and I was chucking him and doing all these wrestling moves, and I broke his collarbone.
Oh.
And I remember going into the doctor's office and trying to explain it, and I'm like, this guy for sure thinks I beat my kid, right? There's just no way. And to this day, kids get talking about broken bones, and he'll go, yeah, Dad broke my bone wrestling and I'm like, oh man, I'm never going to let that down ever. And I trucked him off the top rope, and that one backfired. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't. I don't know. Got a good memory.
Well, he still talks about it. He's not upset about it. He just, like, you're probably right. I just think about it. I'm like, dad oopses, dad fails of the day. Yeah, that was one of mine. Yeah. Wrestling with kids.
No, when actually all this talking made me think of one story in my house too. Like, we're talking bears and wrestling kids and whatnot, and becoming men. I had issues with my oldest son, right? Like, there was a point where Nick was starting to push back on me, right? I'm like, perfect, this is good. Like, you're you're trying to exercise a little bit of dominance, but let me show you how this works, right? I'm gonna kick you out of the house right now, and then you can go do that in the real world, not in my house. I'm still the big grizzly here. And I pushed my kid out. And now he's doing what he's supposed to do. And how many parents don't even do that anymore? Like, they have all sorts of excuses for why their 30-year-old kid is still living at home. There's no excuse, man.
You have to make them excited for it.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing.
Either excited for it or
well, like the one thing I told
you got to turn the heat up so much that they're like, it's time to get out.
No, that's what I told Karen. Like, stop buying ice cream.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Quit
like
cooking the cheese.
I tell him, I sell it to him. It's like, this is going to be the most exciting time of your life. Like my son's left at 17, right? So, like, don't get me wrong, he's not like in the real world. Like, we're still paying the bills, and he's 17 right now. But like, there's like, how long was he on his own for? Like, we went to school in March.
Sports
schools.
are great for that, right? Billeting
you probably would have went through the same
That's
thing.
awesome.
And he doesn't have a billet there. He had himself. Like, and you went in the fridge and you look, and there's real food. Like, he eats steak. He takes an interest in cooking now because it's like he likes eating good food. Doesn't like eating crap.
Well, I know all the Newman siblings. Mom and dad's rules got to us, right? Like, I think, when there's structure and it's like, no, it's my house. Eventually, you're like, I'm going to go do it I assume this is going to happen with my kids. Eventually, they're going to be like, I'm so tired of your rules. I'm going out. Perfect. Good. Yeah. Go figure it out. Yeah. And then, you're like, oh, maybe I didn't have it so bad. And yet, at the same time, the experience of going out on your own is maturing. It's finding your own way. It's dealing with bills and putting food in.
Can't replace it.
Yeah.
It's the most exciting thing that those kids will ever do. I said, it's like the excitement of a toddler, right? Why are they excited? Because everything's new. And it's no different when they leave the house. Everything's new. Like the first time they pay a bill. Like they're like, how the hell do you do this? It's like, how do I get my own phone contract? And then they start to realize, well, okay, I don't need the newest one. I have a one. That's good, right? Like you start to learn how to prioritize.
Oh, you want the iPhone? What are they at? 17, 18, 19? I don't even know what they're at. Do you want the new one? Okay, this is what's going to cost you. You're like, oh, maybe I could deal with the 11 or I don't even know what I have in my pocket if I'm being honest.
Yeah. No, and so, what we've been talking about for the last 90 minutes, like we're describing problems. It's crazy that we know the problems, and we know that there's things we've done in the past that have made life worse for all of us, and somehow or other we should reverse. Like we just talked about, kids are unsuccessful. Why? Because the parents are
enabling it.
So the problem, why not reverse it? And we can list all sorts of problems. One of my frustrations in this day and age is that we know a lot of the problems. We know that a lot of things we've tried in the last, you talked about religion at the beginning. We're going back to it. It's like, it's cool. We need to go back to certain things. We've done things that didn't work. It didn't work. So let's stop doing these silly things and let's go back to what worked.
And you can't, like, religion's a good one. You can't pick out one. You go, well, this thing about religion was bad, so we shouldn't do any of it. Like, that's silly, right? It's like, no, just take that one thing out. Don't do that. You don't have to throw out everything. Like, there's a lot of good structure in there. There's a lot of good discipline. There's a lot of good lessons. So it's like, let's keep that part and let's get rid of this bad part.
Yep.
Yeah. Two of my 4 kids are like, the one is, she reads her Bible every night. That's all on her own. That's what she wants, and she.
Yeah, you're not a religious person.
Maybe I'm a believer. I could be better. There's no doubt. But
but you have faith, but it's not something like you're.
In fairness, we can all be better.
Yeah. No, that's true. But
yeah,
I'm. I guess migrating back that way, but maybe not as fast as I could. And then the other one, she's active with
Frank Peretti once told me, it's not a race, it's a journey. Enjoy the journey. So when you say you're migrating back, enjoy the migration. Then I wouldn't. I remember telling Frank after I'd interviewed him, because and I don't know if you guys know the story, but I picked up. I come back from Ottawa, and I come back in shambles, I would say. And anyways, I found myself in this used store, and I found this Frank Peretti book, and I knew his name because somebody kept sending me, Seth, kept sending me these videos of Frank Peretti, and I didn't know who Frank was, and I thought it was his autobiography, so I was kind of interested, and then I started reading it, and it turned into be this fictional story about angels and demons. And then I found out it was a national bestseller and it sold millions of copies and all this stuff. And when people heard me talk about it, oh yeah, I read that as a kid. And I'm like, I had no idea. So I finally got to interview him, which was a very, very cool experience. And what was probably the best part of it was the hour me and him talked afterwards. Most guests, when you're done, it's like, oh, thanks for coming on, and whatever. And Frank sat with me for an hour virtually, and he just wanted to know a little bit more about me. And somewhere in there, I said, yeah, I'm probably not going fast enough. Something like that, because a lot of people said you got to get to this and you got to get to that. And he stopped me he's like, don't think about it that way. You're on the journey. Enjoy the journey. There's no pace that needs to be set. As long as you're on the journey, that's a great thing. And that's really impacted how I look at it, because for a while there I was like, I got to get there fast. Everything's got to be fast. And it's the journey of life. If you're starting to wrestle with, that's a good thing. Enjoy the wrestle.
Well, you miss the lesson, right? If you go too fast. Like that's the journey is the learning, right? Like, will you ever be there? No. Like, what are you actually going towards? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, is there like a set spot where it's like, once I get here, I'm good. I don't have to do anymore.
No, because when you get there, it's no different than, so starting the podcast, when I started, the mountain peak was episode 100. And I wanted Wayne Gretzky. If I'm truthful, I wanted Wayne Gretzky for 99. I wanted 99 on 99. I had it all worked out. And I got relatively close, I would say, to making that happen. It didn't. And then I had Ron MacLean on 100. And I know there's a ton of people, myself included, that were disappointed with what went on with Hockey Night in Canada. But Ron MacLean as a host had always impressed me at his diligence and just how professional he was. And so I got to have him on episode 100. And then I woke up the next day and I'm like, okay, well, life didn't end, and at that time it was the mountaintop, and then you look and you're like, no, there's the next one. Okay. Yeah. And so like I sit in this place and I go, oh, I got plans. You guys drove by the A-frame, right? That's the next one. And then there's the next one. And I can either go, oh, and there's the next one, or I'm glad the journey isn't over, right? Like
purpose.
Right. Yeah. Like I like getting to the top of a hill so I can see the next one. Okay, that's where I'm going.
What wakes you up in the morning? And honestly, like kind of circling back to those young men, kids in general, right? It's like, and we talk about, because we're getting on to the point of like getting closer to retirement. It's like, and we talk about what's going to be your purpose. Like, what's going to wake you up in the morning? Because you can't do nothing. Like, it's that adage that, like idle hands does the devil's work. That's 100% true.
Not to mention, as you get older, if you stop moving, that is probably the quickest way to die.
Yeah. I'm still an incredible beer league goalie. Not just a little humble brag, but yeah. Carry on a few extra pounds. But I just bought my last set of goalie pads, so it's like, hey. So I tell my wife, it's my last set, and she's like, you just bought some, and I'm like, well, I might have a problem.
What episode is this going to be?
960.
960. Wow.
Yeah, I'm 40 away from 1,000, Marty.
40 away.
It's crazy.
And it's just a number. Like, full stop. It's just a number. But along the journey, there are certain moments where you hit a certain mountain and you're like, or a hill or whatever it's called. And you're like, when I started, I did not set out to get to 1,000. That was not, I remember thinking 10 was a big deal. And I remember really thinking 100 was. And then somewhere along the line, the 100's just kind of whatever. It's just another number. But 1,000.
1,000 NHL games, man.
Yeah, I've had to pause and think about it because it's coming up real fast. 40 is going to go by in a blink of an eye. And 1,000 is, well, I don't know, it's almost surreal to sit here.
Who are you targeting for 1,000?
I've targeted a lot, and I mean, I assume the
Put it
audience
out there.
Joe Rogan. You need Joe Rogan at 1,000.
Well, there was two really, really, really influential people in me starting specifically a podcast, and the two people were Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Joe Rogan's quote sat in the studio in Lloyd. His quote on the wall has stood there when I was working full time and being there at 5 a.m. and chasing this dream. And it just kind of reminded me that, you got to put in the work and on and on. And it was Jordan Peterson reading his book that got me into podcasting in general, right? And it's the purpose part.
And you haven't had Peterson on here?
I've had his arm. I've interviewed his wife twice, and in the one episode you can hear him doing dishes, and then he comes over and kisses her goodbye, and his arm has been on. And like I'm a faith driven man. I've prayed about it a lot, and right now I pray for Jordan's health to return to him because he's down and out, and it just hasn't happened. I cannot. I get over 1,000 episodes. If you would have told me I wouldn't be able to get Jordan Peterson on, I would have laughed because I'm like, when I set my mind to something, I can usually make it happen. And him being Albertan, everything lines up that it should happen.
Yep.
It just hasn't happened. I've got to meet him once. It was probably the most awkward starstruck I've ever been. I got to meet him when Tucker Carlson was in Edmonton. And man, I bungled that, and I had Danielle Smith, Premier Smith at the time, give me a beautiful introduction to him. And I was just, it was like my tongue wouldn't work. And I'm like, God, like what's going on here? Like maybe it just isn't time. Maybe it's never meant to happen. I prayed about it. I want him on. His arm has been on. So I guess in theory he's been on. But I've wrestled with a lot of different things on the 1,000th, do I want Joe Rogan? Boys, yes. If tomorrow I can have Joe Rogan, so the audience, if we can make that happen, absolutely. Would I fly down there? Would I do whatever it took? Abso-freaking-lutely. To me, I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm being realistic with myself. And so I've got a lot of different ideas on the 1,000th of what to do. I'm still wrestling with those ideas.
Yeah, you're right. It's coming up fast, right? I mean, that's 40 away from...
it's roughly February.
Yeah. Things have a way of just working out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think this is kind of where you were going with it. Maybe it's like that 1,000th. It'll show itself when it's time to show itself. It's coming quick, but it's amazing. Like, you blink your eyes and the answer's there sometimes.
Yeah, well, one of the things about doing live shows is I have this mantra. And when I get super stressed out, because, like things are coming, people are showing up, and I'm like, there's still time. Even if there's 1 minute, there's still time to solve a problem, to think through your stress and everything else. And with 40 episodes to go, that's not a whole lot of time in my realm, but at the same time, there's still time. And I agree. I'm hopeful that it's going to be one of roughly 10 people that I've been trying to get. And if it doesn't happen, I have another idea that I think maybe is more important anyways, and maybe I go along that line. And once again, it's just a number. It's just 1,000, right? Like I'm kind of curious where the next 1,000 take me, because like talking purpose, gents. I didn't realize the impact this would have on my life doing these interviews and what the podcast has become. I didn't.
What do you think about the impact you probably had on a lot of people? Like you compound that, like, you speak, and you look at your viewership, like I think the last time I looked, a couple million a year? Something
well, I mean, when we did the federal live stream, we had 500,000 people in the first 24 hours. So I actually don't know where this year sits, but a lot then. The last year I did was 1.2 million, I think, downloads. So like we're talking very strict, trying to like see what the people who are actively tuning in. That isn't social media. That isn't all those things. I mean, I'd be curious what Marty's numbers are on social media interactions, but interactions are different than actually going out and like downloading a podcast. And now that's changed. They changed the metrics on that, which has really been interesting to follow. But forgive me. I'm making a short answer long. It's this year, up until this point, the number one episode I ever had 120,000, and our live stream 500,000 the first 24 hours. And like when me and Twos were following that, it was insane to see how close we were to the CBC.
I'm sure some of your stats are big. I'm sure they are. I mean, I can tell you some of my stats. Like it's mind blowing actually. Like on YouTube, for instance, I can see how many hours people listened.
Yeah, consumed.
And you go, wow, people listened to me for like 450,000 hours. You just like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to compute.
Yeah, on X, I'm hitting 1 million impressions a day on X now.
Wow.
Which is like, that's just bonkers.
Well, I go back to the guy parked out front. I just go like, you've become a bigger influence, or you've become an influence of their taking notice.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if there's any nefarious, maybe it's just some random guy and he got freaked and off he went.
No, I mean,
But when you're talking about $1 million a day,
yeah, and
somebody's
and
taking
it's not
notice.
just me, right? It's like I'm on the platforms enough to notice things. Like people say, like I can see patterns, I can see the data, I can see the stuff that's happening to other people on the platform. There is a concerted effort by liberals and progressives in this country to quiet us. Everything we've talked about, some people just literally don't want this out. Like it.
But you can imagine how many people outside of Alberta want Alberta to leave.
Oh, they're cheering for us.
Some people are, but if you're the apparatus that is Canada, you don't want that.
They don't.
And you think the bank account, they're willing to funnel money through all these different projects.
They will fight tooth and nail.
The people who know don't want us. The people in government who know how the finances work, they don't want us out. God, are you kidding? They know there's $15 billion that would disappear. We are well, we can go, but yeah.
The impact thing is interesting because I always think of Jordan Peterson's book and how many young men that impacted. Like, when you talk about this podcast is specifically because of that book.
Make your bed. That was like one of the, you pay, like that's one thing I remember in that. And every morning I pretty much every morning, make my bed.
Get your affairs in order before you worry about somebody else's.
100%.
Yeah.
The one that there's a whole bunch in there. We started a book club surrounding when you talk about groups of men and the He-Man group and getting that group of friends. We started a book club and I had them out here a couple nights ago and we just had a conversation talking about it because we, all of a sudden you blink and it's been 7 years we've had a book club where we've been meeting and discussing things probably very similar to you guys, and we meet weekly now. And we got talking about it, and it's because of Jordan Peterson and because of, when you do the ripple effect of what Jordan Peterson did with just that book, 12 Rules to Life, out of that came the book club. And if it wasn't for the book club, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this because I sent them. I should have kept it, but you can imagine I'm working for Baker Hughes at the time, and they sent me to Calgary for some sort of training. And you get in those things, and you probably went out drinking the night before, and so you're kind of just going through the motions. And I didn't go drinking the night before. I was sitting there, and I was just bored. And we got a break. Smoke break for some, and for me, I went and stretched my legs, and I grabbed my phone and I recorded a voice, and I've been writing it out the entire time because I'd listened to a few Joe Rogans by that time. We'd read Jordan Peterson, and it was just like it sparked something in me. And I was walking around with the phone, and I recorded a voice note, and I sent it to him, and I was terrified to send it to 4 grown men that this was a stupid idea and you shouldn't do it, right? That's the way my brain worked. And their encouragement that it was a good idea, and it had nothing to do with politics, it was all sports back then, allowed me to pursue it. And I can't overstate, I haven't talked about men's groups in a long time, but I can't overstate having a group of men around you, not only to put you back in line when you're bitching and complaining about, whatever it is, to-do list or something going on in life, no, poor me. It's also there to prop you up and make you look higher than what you think you're capable of.
Yeah, I find our spouses, they'll pick us up and dust us off. They'll give us encouragement to go. But your men group, they don't sugarcoat it. If you're being a dipshit, they'll tell you.
You're wearing a t-shirt.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's the reality.
Where
the sometimes the messaging we get, I get from my wife, it's great. I need it a lot of times. I need to be told that, what I'm doing is the right thing. The way she frames it sometimes is they frame it in their own special way. They give you that soft encouragement. But, we talked about football and that military style. Sometimes you just need guys that tell you to pick your ass up. Nobody's coming to save you. Pick your ass up and get going again. And that's what they're there for. And it's, I think as we age, we all take that role a little bit more seriously, and we put our own spin on it. When people tell me about shitty things that are happening in their life, I don't sugarcoat it. If you're contributing to that, Like, stop. That's the biggest thing. Where it's like, hey, man, you don't need to be scared. We're here to help. Many hands make light work. There's lots of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like one of the things that I like to do right now is like, not that I'm a genius at it by any means, but it's just encouraging our young people to start investing now. Like, it's just like that power of compounding interest is just amazing. And if you want to, if you truly hate the man and you don't want to be stuck in it, you need, pardon my French, but you need fuck you money. And the sooner you got it, the better off
I
you'll
think
be.
it's taken almost 2 hours to get the first F-bomb. That surprised me on the drive out here.
That's all right. But,
But you're not wrong. You look at how we went through COVID, and a lot of people got put in positions where, whether it was financial or mainly financial, they were controlled, because if they take this away, how will I survive? And if you're a young guy and you want to be in a position where you can say what you want, when you want, to whoever you want, you have to be in a position that you're independent. And that doesn't mean you can't work for a corporation or whoever.
Yeah.
It just means you can't be in a position where they can influence you so much. I was watched a movie last night, 2 nights ago, Margin Call.
Yep.
Kevin Spacey and everything. And at the end, he says, I want out. And the guy says to him, give me two more years. And I'm waiting for him to say, no, you can take my everything. I don't care anymore. And he goes something along the lines of, fine, I'll stay because I need the money. And that's the simple reason. That's it.
Yep.
And then it goes on and you realize he's divorced, and chances are he's lost that part of his life that will give him independence. It's not just financial. It's having a partner that, will back you up when you're in tough predicaments. And in the movie, he's divorced. And that's a way of controlling. The boss knows it. He needs the money. He can't leave. You can hate what we just did, but you're going to stay because you need to get paid because you have problems. And if you don't want to be in that position as a young man, as you get older, you got to remove the problem areas in life.
Takes discipline. We talked about, I guess, the theme of this, right? That blue collar roundtable. It's like, what do you got for skills? Right? So it's being an entrepreneur in your own sense. It's like, hey, like, I'm an electrician. I can sell that. I can do stuff. He's a mechanic. He can do stuff. And then when you develop those things, then you take away that dependency on somebody else to do stuff for you.
I've often said this, though. There's a reason the government doesn't like us. They don't like us because we're hard to control, because we've done a lot of, we're independent, we're self-sufficient, we own our own chunk of dirt, we have skills, and we can tell the government F you, and they don't like that. And we have guns, we have all sorts of things that they don't like.
Yeah, we can take care of ourselves.
We can take care of ourselves.
At my house, you can shut everything
it's weird,
off,
but yeah,
and I'm just fine.
And quite honestly, we just want to be left alone. We really want to be left alone.
That's the
and so I don't understand why the government doesn't just actually leave us alone. Go and control everybody else that you want, but they can't leave us alone, because as much as they hate us, they need us. They need us to keep doing what we're doing. They need us to keep those pumps running, so that they're being hypocrites about it. They don't want the oil, but they need the oil.
Gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys coming in and doing this. And, hopefully it's not the only one. Maybe there will be another He-Man at some point.
I still think you need to really, in the next 1,000, you need to put this in a little package that you can take it. We'll have you come at He-Man. You can come to He-Man.
Oh, you want me to come to the...
You can come to He-Man.
Well, you don't even need to bring mics.
Wait. For a place that doesn't allow satellite or any tech, you're going to allow me to come in with some mics and do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been documenting He-Man for forever. It gets us in trouble, but
Yeah, it does do that.
Yeah.
I do enjoy a good adventure, Marty.
oh yeah,
Oh,
we'll.
We always come for a test run too.
I mean, we
It's a
go
lot of
there.
fun.
We go there for He-Man is a week of hunting, but we set up our camp 2 months beforehand. We leave it out in the wilderness, and we go visit it 2-3 times in the summer before the main event. So you could come out there for that, or you could come for the main event during He-Man.
yeah. Grab an elk tag,
Yep.
put you in on get you going on your draws.
I don't want
whatever.
the shirt. So I'm going to be doing a lot of research before I ever come to make sure I don't wear that dang shirt. I don't know what's on it. It's leaving a lot to the imagination.
Once the mics go off, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
I think I got a picture of it.
We did make some shirts the one year. Like, it was pretty indicative of what we had as a group. It was like I had this silhouette of this guy riding a moose with holding a beer, and it says "World's laziest hunter since 1998." And I like to take that to the.
We always
I
have
We
moose
always get our
tenderloin, though.
moose, though. We're lazy, but we get it.
Yeah.
We get it done. Cool.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.